Just told you that the number of sets that you can do, if you want to get stronger, all you have to do is one set. And really, over time, if you're doing one set and you're going to failure, a heavy set going to failure, maybe doing a few what we call forced repetitions, that's going to be as good as 3 sets. But that can't be right. No, come on now. Everybody says that 3 sets are better than one. Everybody says that more volume is better. So how many sets do you really have to do? Well, if you go through the research here, there's only a handful of studies that have ever really said anything about sets. And one of them that's always cited as the father of all of these studies is this Berger 1962 paper. And what he did is he took a bunch of different groups, and he had one group do 3 sets 6 times, 1 set 6 times, 2 sets 10 times, 3 sets 2 times, or 3 sets of 2 repetitions, 3 sets of 10 repetitions, 2 sets of 6 repetitions. So all of these different groups. And what he did is he showed, and you see it right here, 3 sets of 6 repetitions is so much better than 1 set of 6 or 2 sets of 6 or 2 sets of 10 or all of these other things. So it's obvious, right? 3 sets of 6 is the best. Take a look at the graph. There's something missing in this graph that we see in all of the other scientific graphs that we show in this class. And that's because humans aren't all the same. So there shouldn't just be a dot here. There should be some sort of indication about what the variability is. What's the difference between, the people who respond really well and the people who don't respond really well? So how much variability in this strength response is there? So I went back to the study and I just took the 1 set of 6 and 3 sets of 6, 1 set of 6, and the 2 sets of 6 groups, and I replotted them and I added that error bars. The error bars are the things that tell us what's the variability between the different groups. And now look what happens. Now 1 set of 6 is here, 2 sets of 6 is here, and 3 sets of 6 are also here. All of the error bars overlap, which means that there's no significant difference between any of them. They're all increasing strength scientifically exactly the same amount. And I wasn't the only one who was doing this. Other people were doing this and going back and looking at this old data. And another person who had come out and said, oh, this data just seems wrong because there doesn't seem to be a statistical difference here. And so there was an editorial that came out, and so Professor Berger gets a chance to reply to the editorial, and this is his reply. If I had concluded in my study in 1962 that 1 set was as good as multiple sets, the practitioners in the field would have confronted me many years ago to express their disagreement. So what this scientist is saying is that if he had actually been honest about his data, people would have been mad at him. And so he was a coward, and he didn't say what his data said, which is they're statistically identical. Whether you do 1 set or 3 sets, you get the exact same response. And he just ignored that. So then people come back and they do the studies like the one that I showed you before from Stu Phillips, where you do 80% 1 set or you do 80% 3 sets, exactly the same increase in strength. Okay. What about size? There's a small effect on size, but if you go to failure in 1 set, and if you maybe add 1 or 2 forced repetitions, the size effect is minimal as well. So what's the difference between doing 1 set or doing 3 or more sets? In 3 or more sets, you're going to get a little bit bigger muscle volume. So you're going to get a slightly bigger muscle. But in 1 set, as long as you can get and lift a heavy weight, you're going to get the exact same strength response. So the strength gains are identical between 1 set and 3 sets. The average workout time, if you're doing an 8 exercise workout, it's 15 minutes if you're doing 1 set. It's 72 minutes if you're doing 3 sets. The weight lifted per set is 100% of your 6 to 8 rep max, whereas this is more like 75 to 80% of your 1 rep max or your 6 to 8 rep max. So functionally, you're going to actually lift a heavier weight here. So over time, you're actually going to get stronger doing a 1-set program. When you add forced repetitions, that's when somebody helps you by lifting up the weight and you slowly lower it, taking advantage of the eccentric load, taking advantage of the greater strength you have through an eccentric contraction, and getting towards eccentric failure. So what we talk about with failure is positive failure, where you can't lift the weight anymore. So you've been lifting, and now the last repetition, you can't lift it anymore and you stop. That's failure. But forced repetition, somebody is there to help you and lift that one, and then you take it down the next time and you resist. And then at the bottom, they lift it up for you again, and you do that maybe one more time until you get to what's called momentary muscular failure, or negative failure as well, where you can't resist the weight falling and you can't lift the weight. All right? So really, it's all about time. And so how much time do you have to invest in your workout? When I used to work out at a gym where we had Mr. Canada, the Canadian bodybuilding champion, he used to work out 3-4 hours a day, but that was his job. He would do 1 set, couple repetitions. He would talk to every single person in the gym. Loved being in the gym. He was like, hey, what? That was his job. That was what he loved. That's not where you and I are, as far as I don't have that kind of time. I have 15 minutes that I can devote to this. I have 15 minutes where I can go bang, 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 bang through my exercises, go to failure where I can't lift it, and I have my lifting partner, who's my wife. She'll lift it up for me, and I go down slowly. I fight, and at the end of it, I feel like I'm exhausted. It takes me 15 minutes maximum, and then I'm out.